There was an old man who lived in a small village. His home was very close to a school, and people often cut through the school grounds as a shortcut. He wanted to stop this behavior, so he put a lock on the gate. Now, as people approached to take their shortcut, they saw the lock, and so they turned back. A few days later, he took the lock off, kept the chain loosely wrapped around it. Now anyone could easily untie the chain and continue to use the school as a shortcut. But as people approached and they saw the chain, they would get discouraged all the same, and they would turn back. This mental lock was just as strong as the real one. We all have these mental locks on our brains. Most often, they aren't even represented by a loose chain. They are entirely imagined. Any slight discouragement stops us in our tracks. We tell ourselves that we aren't good at something. We tell ourselves that we aren't smart enough. We tell ourselves that we can't. We tell ourselves that that level of success is for other people, not us. We tell ourselves that we never qualify for that job or gain that client or be worthy of that leadership position. Even though we can, and no physical locks are holding you back, you have invented these locks in your head. We got our Jack Russell Terraced text that you every once in a while see around our set here when we were living in, well, Texas, hence the name. Then we moved back to San Diego, our home here, and we have a long driveway that goes out to the main street in front of our house here. We wanted to let this high-energy rascal have free range of the property, but not go down the driveway to the street. At the time, we didn't have a gate yet, so I went on Amazon and I ordered one of those invisible fences. As Tex would approach the line of freedom, he'd hear a beep followed by a mild and harmless, mind you, electric stimulation. The first time he approached the line, unsuspecting, the shock was, well, it was shocking to him. About 10 minutes later, he tried it one more time, and well, that was it. He never even tried to break free again. Later, I turned off the electric stimulation part, and just as soon as he heard the beep, he went running in the opposite direction. Later still, the collar's batteries died, so I took the collar off completely, but he never crossed that line again. In fact, when we would leave to go for a walk, I'd actually have to pick him up and hold them to walk over that invisible line, just to get him on the other side. The memory of that one or two surprise electric stimulations was enough to govern his behavior forever. Unfortunately, many of us allow these invisible fences to continue to contain our lives as well. The one or two times that you tried to call a prospect that you didn't know, you tried to approach a group at a networking event to introduce yourself. You tried to stand up and ask a question at an event. You tried to ask for the order and close the sale. You tried to negotiate the price and ask for a discount. You tried to ask him or her out on a date. You tried to be open and vulnerable. You tried to have a hard conversation with a friend. And the mild and harmless, mind you, pain of rejection or embarrassment continues to keep you from ever again trying again, even though it's all mental. While these mental fears are 100% illusionary, posing no physical or mortal danger to your person, to, well, honed flight, fight, and freeze response systems imprinted into our nervous systems, they can still be 100% debilitating to you. Now, let me be clear. Having these falsely associated fears does not make you defective. It only makes you human. We all suffer this human condition, and we all govern our lives avoiding these illusionary electric fences. So what do you do about it? How do you break free? Well, I've got good news and I've got bad news. Which would you like first? Let's start with the good news. You don't need to go to a shrink, have a lobotomy, pray novenas, do child regression, or hypnotherapy. Breaking your fear barriers is simpler than you think. The bad news? Okay. The only way to conquer the fear is to do the thing that you fear. And a lot. You have to do what Tex won't. Step over the line. Over and over and over again. And realize there's no electric shock. There are two ways to approach this, but both lead to the same solution: doing it. One let's call easing in. This is using the compound effect, taking small, progressive steps that accumulated and compounded over time will break you free. Let's say that you are afraid of elevators. Just start small. Just go into an elevator with the doors held ajar. Walk in, stand for a minute or two. The next time, stand inside with the doors closed but not moving. The next time, only go up 1 or 2 floors. Then each time that you're out, progressively get higher and higher and higher each time. Eventually, you'll be whizzing up the Empire State Building while whistling Dixie. You can do this even if you have, say, social anxiety, going to a party full of strangers, let's say. The compound effect can look something like this. Go to a party and just briefly nod and smile at several people. Next time, go to the party and ask a quick question and then excuse yourself. Next time, go to a party and ask a friend to introduce you to 3 people. Next time, go to the party, introduce yourself to one approachable looking person. Next time, go to that party, join one group of approachable people. Next time, go to the party and introduce yourself to someone who intimidates you. The second approach to all of this is called plunging. In the party example, it would be introducing yourself to every person at every party who intimidates you until it becomes habituated. In the fear of elevators example, it would be riding in the elevator right up the Empire State Building over and over and over again until it is desensitized to you and the fear. Now, admittedly, I would use each of these different approaches for different barriers that I am trying to break. When it came to approaching girls when I was single or prospecting in sales, I found it easier to just plunge in and just take the humiliation in large volumes in compressed periods of time, to bombard myself with those repeated rejections to ultimately habituate and desensitize me to the pain. Once in the mode, it was no longer painful. When I was learning to speak or write, I started out small, emotionally manageable, and then graduated up and up and up through the compound effect. Name a fear that you have. Is it public speaking? Is it dancing in front of people? Is it making prolonged eye contact? Is it having to say no or to turn somebody down? Is it making prospecting calls, being recorded on video, speaking up at work, having to promote or sell yourself, asking for help, asking someone out, introducing yourself to strangers? Pick one that you know has been holding you back, and then tell us what approach you will use to finally break free. Either the ease in or the plunge in method. Share that with us in the comments below.